Hello programmers, welcome to Learning Python tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to talk about Python exception handling. So we have explored basic Python till now. In this article, we'll discuss how to handle exceptions in Python using try, except, and finally statements with the help of proper examples. Error in Python can be of two types. One, syntax error and another is exceptions. Error are problems in program due to which the program will stop the execution. On the other hand, exceptions are raised when some internal event occurs which change the normal flow of the program. So let's look at example. I'll explain this again. So let's create new file, Python file. I'll name it as exception handling. So first of all, let's look at first type of error which we often get is, let me take one variable as x equal to 10, and the typical error if you're coming from different programming language is like this. Now you will know that we are missing semicolon here. If I run this, then you will expect syntax error, and it says that we are expecting semicolon here. All right. So so now error has gone. So this was syntax error. Now suppose if I don't give indentation here. So if statement always expects next line to have indentation, even though if we don't have any condition, then we are supposed to write something like this. All right. So we have seen this in our control flow video. Okay. So suppose if I don't write like this, and if I run this, then we expect indentation error. Next, we also have, suppose if we do something like this, a equal to x divided by 0, then we have 0 division error. So far we have seen syntax error, indentation error, and 0 division error. We have seen one more error, and that is, in case if I do something like this, and what if I do y plus x here, then what do we get is type error. So yeah, so we have seen this, we have to typecast this, right? So we have seen this error in our previous videos also. So this is type error. Okay. So we have a few errors like import error. The exception is raised when import statement fails to find or load a module. So we have to look at what is module. But yeah, so this exception you can get that if you are using something and if you have not imported that module, then you get import error. Then there is a key error when there is a key that you are looking into the dictionary and that is not found. Okay, same value error. Exception is raised when function or method called with an invalid argument or input, which is you are trying to convert a string to an integer, or string doesn't represent a valid integer. So you are trying to typecast string into integer, and string is not a proper integer, then you get value error. So IO error, then we have attribute error. So this kind of errors we have. Now let's go ahead and see how to handle this error, or let's say how to handle exceptions. So with this, in this example only, we'll look at how to handle this gracefully. So, so if you are coming from Java background, then you already know there is a keyword called as try. Same keyword we have in Python. And here, what we are going to do is we are going to try this statement, and here we are handling this error. So we are expecting type error to come by. And so suppose this could be something that we are getting input, enter value of x. So this could be better example. So we don't know, and we are trying here, or maybe we have one value here, and what do we have here is we are just handling and we are printing error messages cannot add int and string. Okay, let's run this. So here, let's say I'm passing A, B, C, D. Okay, so here it is printing except whatever written in this except block. What I can do is I can skip this, I can pass and I can print here, and we can write one message that program executed without error, but actually error happened and we handled it. All right. So the point I'm trying to make here is, yeah, so we basically suppress that error. This is very wrong, but yeah, I just wanted to show you the example. So this is how exception handling works. Okay. And so if we want to catch specific error in your program, then what we need to do is, suppose what happened, what is happening is, we are getting two values from the user, and we don't basically control what user may enter. Correct. We are expecting correct. We are expecting x plus y. Sorry. And here let's print type error, or I may get, let's say, as I mentioned earlier, value error. Correct. So let's run this. Let me delete this statement. So now, yeah. So if I enter 5, if I enter 10, then I have 15, which is correct. But now if I enter 5 and if I enter 10, then we have value error. Got it? So this is how we can handle specific exception from your code. So it's possible that line 1, 2 may cause one error and line 3 may cause some another error. So this is how we can handle multiple exceptions. Now there is one more different thing that you can do in Python is else statement. Okay, so apart from, so if I so this is like if else, or you must in control flow tutorial we have seen, in while loop also we have this else statement. So something similar we have here. So suppose I will demonstrate. So actually it should be like this: z equal to x divided by y, and that's it. And I'm going to print value of z here. So this block is going to get executed when there are no exceptions. So let me enter again. Okay. So whenever there is no error, it is going to execute this else part. Okay. So this is about else in else along with try and except block. Now there is one more block that we are also familiar in Java, that is finally. Okay. So suppose, let me remove this else part. So there is a finally block which is going to get executed after try except block. The final block is always executes after the normal termination of try, or after try block terminates due to exception. So it means that except, suppose if you don't have even except block, still you can have, or you can even have, let's say else. So basically else, and after that you can write finally. So this block is typically used for resource cleanup. So suppose for some reason exception has happened, you want to close the file, you want to close the socket, then you would typically use this finally block, and it is going to get execute irrespective of exceptions. For example, here resource cleanup is called with successful division, and if I enter something like this, still you would see resource cleanup has been called. Correct. Although we had exception, but resource cleanup has been called, and then we came across that exception. Another thing about finally is I can write it without all this. Okay. So suppose if I enter, let's go through again. So here also you can see resource cleanup. So basically finally only need try, but it will finally makes sure that the code inside the finally block will get executed after try, or try block is successfully executed, or we have exception. Finally is going to get executed 100%. Okay. So unless there is exception in finally, so it may happen that this code that you have written in finally, it may, if it is throwing some exception, then chances are this finally block will halt its execution at that point, and you may have to handle that part also. But let's not complicate the scenario. Let's try to understand what is the purpose of this finally block. Okay. Now we came across situation where we want to raise our own type exceptions. So for example, let me remove all this. So we use raise keyword to create our own error, and what we do is we handle this error like this. All right, so this is how you raise your error. Let's look at advantages. So by handling exceptions properly, you can prevent your program from crashing, or you can produce by producing incorrect results due to unexpected errors, your program will not get crashed. So it is a it provides cleaner coding. You can avoid complex conditional statements to check for errors. It's more natural. It looks program looks more natural. It's easy to debug, and yeah, so it's easy to read. But the disadvantage of exception handling, which we should also consider, that is performance overhead. Exception handling can be slower than using conditional statement for checking errors, as the interpreter has to perform additional work to catch and handle the exception. So code, so that one is there. Possible security risk is there. Improperly handled exception can potentially reveal the sensitive information or create security vulnerabilities. So it is important to handle exception carefully and avoid exposing too much information about your program or even through logs. Okay. So this was about exception handling in Python. I hope you liked my video. Please like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching this video.